Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Rainey Day. That truly is my name. I'm a fourth generation psychic medium, and I'm coming to you live from my sacred space. And I'm here today to introduce you to an incredible soul. She's just coming out of the psychic medium closet, and I know how that feels. I am so excited to introduce you to Mary. Mary, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your gifts, your abilities, and when did this all start coming out? When did you come out of the closet?
Well, thank you for having me today. This is exciting. So I came out of the closet officially with my woo-woo talking to dead people skills probably 4 weeks ago now. So I'm still a little timid with
What?
it. I know. 'I've
4 weeks?
seen 4 weeks that I
Talk
announced
about
officially.
talk about taking a leap of faith. You go, girl. I love your energy.
That's how it's done. So, but I've seen people my whole life, had the imaginary friend, all that fun stuff, and I've been in the healing arts my whole life. I went to massage school at the ARE, which is Edgar Casey's place, right out of high school, and that's when I really found out that not everybody knows where everybody else hurts just by standing next to them or talking to them. But it still didn't click for me. I'm a slow learner. So I carried on with the massage therapy, fell into craniosacral therapy, and it just kind of evolved all on its own until about 5 years ago now. Spirit was definitely showing up in sessions. And I was kind of like, whoa, okay. Thought I was going crazy. Talked to a therapist. They assured me, oh no, this is normal. It happens all the time for people. So then it was basically just getting comfortable with it myself, telling clients about what I was seeing. Then clients started requesting things. And finally, it's become harder to keep it in than it is to say, I talk to dead people. So here we are.
No, I totally get that because that's been my whole life too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it weren't for this beautiful lady, so you've seen that movie, The Sixth Sense, and it's so
I
funny because
have.
James Bond Prague talks about this too. I always saw dead people, and my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother, because she was so gifted herself, my mother's an empath, my oldest aunt is incredibly psychic, and my
Mm-hmm.
youngest aunt is just such a sensitive that it's sometimes paralyzing. If it weren't for this beautiful woman teaching me that this is normal and teaching me how to keep my energy close and to
Mm-hmm.
feel those disruptions when they come in and out. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what I'd like to ask you, because this is something that I experience and I teach, also a spiritual educator. My
Mm-hmm.
website is spiritacademy.net, and I teach people that it's okay to feel this way, and I throw a whole bunch of spaghetti at you, and some of those things are going to give you aha moments, and you're going to be able to improve and connect. What
Right.
I have found that when you keep your energy closer, you can feel those disturbances, and what I mean by disturbances is other people's energy. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to ask you, as you really started to recognize your abilities, because to me, if you've ever, I'm from Las Vegas, or from Reno, but I live in Las Vegas for 40 something years. We
Mm-hmm.
have the Luxor, and it has
Okay.
a huge beam of light that you can see from space. And if you look into that beautiful light, you see all these bugs and nasty things. And one thing that my grandmother would always tell me is as you open, you become like the only porch light in the neighborhood. And we know what that's like. Bugs just kind of
Yeah.
come to snuff
Yeah.
it out. Did you find as you began to shine your light that you started feeling different things and some of those lower vibrational frequencies? Can you talk a little bit about when you first really came out and you turned on your light?
Mm-hmm. So, I think I probably have been shining the beam of light my whole life. I just didn't realize it. And I didn't have anyone to really teach me, hey, yes, you can feel all these things, but it's not your responsibility to feel all these things and to shut it off. And so probably once I started realizing that, now I'm very conscious and very careful of the music I listen to, the things I allow myself to read, the people I allow myself to be around, the movies that I watch. I mean, we, in my family, in my house, my children are very hypersensitive and psychic too. So we just live a different lifestyle
Right.
because we have to. Now that I've figured that part out, I can keep my energy up. But those things, they most definitely affect you on an energetic level. And it's not just people like you and I, it's literally everyone. And that's
Agree.
part of what I do in my practice is, my practice is kind of morphed into, I guess, a spiritual school unofficially. I just follow whatever I get. But it's really teaching people to take back their own power and start shining their own lights, learning how their body is an antenna, and learning to communicate with their body. And okay, my body's saying this, that means this for me, take action. It's very empowering work. And one of
It's
the
like
things that
tuning in to a radio station dial. You just find your own frequency so that you're
I
aligned.
Yes. And to realize that when, you walk into a place and all of a sudden your mood takes a dive, to check in and say, is that me? And more times than not, it's not you. It's you picking up on whatever is around you. And once people start becoming aware of that, this whole other world opens up. It's incredible. I love that. And now I've started really working with kids, teaching them, because I wish there would have been someone when I was little, to say, hey, this or that or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my calling. The kids, I want to make sure I give back to make sure that, they don't have to undo years and decades of, fun.
Right. Right. No, I totally get that. That I'm so incredibly thankful for my grandma Oz.
Yeah.
So how did you go about finding out what worked for you, what was going on? Did you just what did you seek out? How did you develop? Because I believe everybody has innate abilities. You obviously recognize that you had gifts. So
hmm
where did you go? What did you do? How did you
You know,
really amp up this frequency?
so um, I think my gift is probably that I trust so fully and completely in every fiber of my being, spirit.
Yay.
I trust like no one else. And I trust my body. So when I get a hit, or I sense something, I just go. I don't question. I don't hesitate. Like this interview, I was like, whoa, that's scary, but okay, I'm going. And I just go. And I'm kind of on a mission, but it's not my mission, if that makes sense. So
100%.
so that's really my gift, is I literally just show up and keep showing up and keep myself open, and I follow without hesitation whatever comes through.
So what did you seek out? Did you go to classes? Did you have
I
a
have not
mentor?
taken any classes. My
Bravo.
training is bodywork. And it was probably, I was led there by my grandmother. She wanted me to go there, and I was like, it's not in Florida where I'm from, so I'm out of here. Okay. Um, and then I was really good at it, but I was still not aware. Um, and then I just automatically, naturally just follow things. And I've been on all these detours and I've done all these crazy, wild things. And I guess now's the time. Now I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. I didn't even know until a couple months ago that there were classes for mediumship and psychic. I had no idea. I had no idea that there were groups you could practice with. I had no idea there were so many other people that were like me. So now I'm having this weird complex where I feel like for the first time in my life, oh my God, I might be normal. Like what?
I
Like I'm
know.
having this really weird experience. So
Well, and everything is at divine timing, everything. So people are so hard on themselves sometimes because they're like, I should have done this years ago. I'm like, no, you're doing it at the exact time. So tell us, what are your gifts?
So I work as a healer. I'm very good at holding space for people, and I can track a nervous system from the other side of the earth. And so, really, I just bring awareness to a person's system and allow them to kind of slow down and start noticing the nuances and the subtleties themselves. And then they do the healing, and I get to watch. Like, it's phenomenal.
You
Um,
witness.
yes,
It's almost like what you do in Reiki. You're the conduit and you just witness, or Seraphim Blueprint practitioner.
mhm,
You let the energies, you're just that conduit, guiding it and
yes,
giving it love and witnessing this beautiful transformation.
yes.
But you
And
said something to me earlier that you see dead people.
I do,
What's
and I can't believe I'm
that about?
saying
So do
this on
I.
camera.
High five, girl. I see you're not alone.
I know, it's
You
so
know, and
awesome.
I love being different. My real name really is Rainy Day.
Nice,
It's
nice.
not my psychic name. Um,
Ooh, I could have a psychic name? Oh.
People
Ooh.
do. So I live in Las Vegas and we have
Ooh.
called the Psychic Eye, and everybody there, it's like, I hate saying going to a brothel, but it's not like going to a brothel. I was raised in Nevada, so I mean it's normal for us. But you know how
Right.
they all have their madam names like
Working names,
Penny.
yes.
Yeah, well, at
Yeah.
the Psychic Eye, they all have psychic names like Allura and Luna.
Oh,
Like,
ooh,
oh
I'm gonna have
my
to think
gosh.
about this.
I know. So I always clarify. My real name is Rainy Day. Thank you, grandmother. She named me because she wanted me to be different. Oh, that's
Fantastic.
great. That's fantastic. A
Yeah.
psychic medium's name is Rainy Day. But what I love about this gift is, I was always different. I wasn't that kid in the corner. I always tease everybody eating glue.
Right.
I always knew because of her that I could see dead people and talk to them. And, it's a very healing when you are driven
Yes.
by spirit instead of driven by the human experience.
Yes.
And so I think I'm really interested in how you connect from a mediumship standpoint. Can you expand
Hmm.
on that for us?
Sure. So, I don't know, I'm always open. So, I did learn that I have to, I put like a little sign in my mind's eye up that says closed, and I flip it for open when spirits are allowed to contact me, because I'm going to tell you, it can get crazy.
Oh, I
And
know.
I mean, when you're standing on the playground with your child and you're seeing a man with no children around him and he's just staring at the kids, and you turn around again and he's not there, and there's no possible way he could have gone anywhere, that's frightening. Like that, I was kind of like, what? So, yeah, that started happening, and a friend was like, well, you can turn it off. And I'm like, okay. So, I just
Duh.
literally, everything is intention, right? So I just, in my
Everything.
mind, flip the sign to open, and I have like a little waiting room in my mind, and they just come in and everyone sits down and takes a number, and we go from there.
I
So yeah,
love that because you and I took I think you were in the Lisa Williams Launch Your Psychic Business.
I
Or were you in the
was
I mean, the most phenomenal thing I've ever been to. But I remember seeing Lisa years and years ago, Boundaries with Spirit Team. She would put on her hat, and that was her signal to Spirit, leave me alone. My
interesting.
boundaries with Spirit, because even my great uncle was an astral traveler. I mean, he was part of
Mhm.
those spooks during the Cold War that spied on the enemy, but
How
never
cool. Yeah,
left a building in California. But,
right.
and you can Google this, found a down airplane in Africa by 2 degrees off just by astral traveling. And
That's
so,
fantastic. Is
I
that the
mean,
one
I
that
have
the
a,
president mentioned? I was reading something about, I think
we're
it
going to
was.
be reading more and more and more. My
So
guides have
like,
channeled through me more and
yes.
more and more about things that the government knows, and they're not conspiracy theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Me either.
I'm not a
I don't have time for
crazy,
that.
crazy person. But he taught me to put boundaries on spirit because you don't want to be bombarded all the time, and especially at night. Because
Right.
my human body it's like a bear, you need to go into hibernation so that the cells and everything can replenish. And
Yes.
so I have boundaries with my team. I love yours. I'm gonna use yours as an example for my students because that's
Oh,
brilliant.
cool.
A
Oh,
waiting
cool.
room, a
Well, I
waiting room, and a
feel
sign
honored.
that turns from like an open and close sign.
Open for
We're
business.
open and we're closed.
And sometimes they'll still, you know, try to come through. You have your pushy ones. And I'll just, hey, take a number, you know, and then back off.
I
And,
love that.
and I'm teaching it to my son. He's 4. And, you know, he'll be like, get out of my room. Okay, that works too. Yeah.
Right? Well, my boundaries with my team is between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yes.
Unless I'm on fire. Unless somebody's dying
Yes.
that really needs me,
Yes.
I'm on fire because
Right.
they ping you all the time.
Yes.
And
If it's
I have
something you
also
need
made
to
an
know.
agreement, and like you said, everything's intention. My agreement with you is you're going to read my physical body because there's times when you just need a break, a timeout, because ever since I can remember, I've always been turned on. You and I have a lot in common. So you began to see spirits. Then what happened? Tell us the metamorphosis and the going up that staircase, what it was like, what it
So,
looked like.
so I started seeing, well, the first session that I remember, it was so amazing. That I had my eyes closed, and in craniosacral, it's very boring. Families want to come and watch. You know, I work with a lot of head trauma, cranio concussions. I have one myself. I'm nursing concussions, and a lot of special needs kids. And families want to come to watch their loved one receive, and it's like, no, seriously, you don't. It's like watching paint dry or the grass grow. Like, I'm feeling all these things. The person on the table is feeling all these things. We're like going all these amazing places. And it looks like I've fallen asleep with their head in my hands and they're snoring on the table. So I would
take one.
Yeah.
You know, but I get what you're saying. Have you heard of Dr. Amen? Amen's
I have
clinic?
heard of him. Yeah.
Interesting. So please proceed because I love how you connect with energy. Did you see spirits around your clients? How does that progress?
Well, so I was holding, and it started happening. It's almost like a meditative state. I've spent a lot of time thinking about what has happened to me. And when you're sitting like that, you're so still and you're so focused on the subtleties of not only your client, but your own system, right? And then source around you, which source is everywhere. And so I started seeking out source inside of my client and inside of myself and trying to match up the source and comparing it to outside. And one day, all of a sudden, I swear, it felt like time stood still. Even the client was like, what is happening? And I'm like, I don't know. But it was like, time stood still. Even the air felt different. And I don't know, I felt something and I got freaked out and was like, okay, end of session, you're good. And then about 2 weeks later, another session, I'm sitting there and I opened my eyes because I just felt like somebody had walked into the room. And I thought, okay, I must have been sleeping a little bit, you know, whatever. I open my eyes and I'm seeing this man standing there and I'm almost having a heart attack because I can also see through him. And he just like walked over to the client and like started giving me information, and I was kind of like, whoa. I didn't say anything. At the end of the session, I didn't say anything because I was almost traumatized from it. And she said it was the weirdest thing. It was almost like my dad came in the room, and I almost fell out of my chair. And I said,
Like,
well, actually, does your dad look like? And she's like, oh my God, yes. And I'm like, oh. So she said, you have to tell me everything. And that just started. Like, then more and more people started coming. And now someone will, if I'm not shut off with my closed sign, someone starts telling me something and I start feeling a tug in my heart, like someone I really want to help. Their loved ones just pop up and they're like, hello, tell them this, hello. And I'm like, ah! So yeah, I have to keep myself locked down, or it's just too much to handle for sure.
I love that term, lockdown. It's so funny that you said shine your light, because that's Spirit Academy's tagline, shine your own light. We have so much
Mhm.
in common, girl.
I know, I
Do you
know.
notice anything as a child now looking back that your gifts were even prevalent then?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's so the house we lived in, this is such an amazing story. And it spans my lifetime. So the house that we lived in when I was little, there was a little boy. And in my memory, I can see him like the neighborhood, like the neighbor child. And he had a very unique name. His name was Engel Scheiber.
And you
And
still remember him to this day.
I do. Like in my mind, I can still see him.
Yep.
And I remember the things we played, and I remember him eating dinner with us every night. And it was probably 2 years ago, I asked my parents, hey, do you have any pictures of that neighborhood kid that used to eat with us all the time? He was always playing with us. And they're like, no, that was your imaginary friend. And I'm like, no, I know I had an imaginary friend, but I'm talking about that boy. And they were like, no. And I remember the day that we moved from that house. I was 5 or 6, and he decided to stay at the house. And it was devastating. And I remember looking out the back window of my dad's pickup truck as we drove away, like bawling because I just lost my best friend. Um, and then it was probably a year or two later, my grandfather died. And I knew right before the phone rang for them to call my parents to let them know that he had transitioned, I freaked out. And yeah, I stayed behind the chair in the living room for 3 days because I was so mad at Spirit for taking my grandpa. I just stayed behind there. And then other things like growing up, I would know things. I would know the song that was playing on the radio before we would turn it on. I would know something was going to happen right before it happened. And people kind of brushed me off as, whatever. If I started freaking out about something that hadn't happened, I was being overly dramatic. So I had a very different growing up than you. But now people tend to listen when I say something. So I think
Isn't that funny how the time
yeah. Now it's kind of like,
now you put it right in the bus?
Yeah.
Okay. Admit.
And my husband will say, he gives me the side eye half the time because I don't think he knows what to do with me really.
No, I get that.
If you start moving things with your mind, I'm moving out. And I'm like, okay, okay, that's fair.
But it feels that he's supportive. And that's funny because my husband is retired military, the big Sarge. And he's been supportive, but he's like, I don't believe in that woo-woo crap.
Right.
I remember one day he said, that stuff that smells like weed, the stuff your mom smokes? I've never smoked it in my life. I wish I could.
Yeah.
I'm like, you mean sage? He said, I don't care. But when I came in, there's something growling in the front room. Do you think you can take care of that shit? I'm like, did he just acknowledge that this might be real?
Wow. That's
Can
fantastic.
I get an amen? Hallelujah.
I think that my husband kind of believed, but since our son is very open and talks about things, I think that now there's no room for him not to believe because a 4-year-old child is telling him the same things I am. So, yeah.
Lucky to have you. And it feels as though, they choose us.
Mm-hmm.
I know I chose my grandmother. I know I chose my mother. I know that contract that I made was exactly what I needed right now. And can I tell you, it is such a pleasure to meet you. I would love to maybe work with you in the future. Welcome, Mary, the new out of the closet medium. Own it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming. God bless you. I will see you soon. This is Rainy Day from.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Can I tell you one thing? So
yes.
This is from my grandmother. I have all of her teacups, and she was She loved tea parties. And so Spirit told me to have an ancestral tea party. So I set it up. I'm like, I'm really going out on a limb here. So it's October 10th at 3 p.m. So if people want to go to my website to check it out and maybe sign
Yes,
up,
what's your
it would be
website?
amazing.
How
My
do we
website,
find you?
it's maryquintero.com, and that's QUINTERO.com. And then I'm also on Facebook, which, oh my God, I am not a Facebook person, but I've done my first live. So, okay, I did it. Maybe I'll do another. I don't know.
Are you on Instagram yet?
No. Oh God. No. Not
So
yet.
maybe we need to do a live Instagram together.
Oh, geez.
Just saying.
Okay. You're going to
Let's
break
keep
me
pushing those
completely
boundaries.
out. Yeah.
So when is this tea party? Because I'm really excited. I want to share
It's
it.
October 10th. It's October 10th at 3 p.m.
And give us some more details. Is it via Zoom? Is
So
there
it's going to be via Zoom, and it's about 90 minutes, and it's $20.
Oh wow, it's cheap.
But I'm going to cut it off at 10 people just because I'm new. For my own comfort, I only want 10 people staring at me at a time. And then we're just going to have tea. You come with your tea, all gussied up. I'm going to try to find boas and everything for myself.
Oh, that's
We'll have
so
a tea
fun.
party, and we'll just see whose loved ones want to come through. And I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh my
I
God,
promise
Mary.
it won't be boring. That I can promise you.
That is so brilliant.
Yeah.
And you've only been out of the psychic closet for 4 weeks.
Well, I said to Spirit, because people are wanting me to, do meditations, and I've been locked in my house with my small children. So I just want to have fun. And that idea popped into my head, and I thought, "Oh my God, that would be so fun for everyone." So, yeah, I'm all about the fun right now.
That's exciting. I know it's going to go well. And I look forward to maybe a bi-weekly or weekly tea party with Mary.
Ooh, that would be fun.
So give us your website one more time because I'm really
Sure.
excited for you. This is so
Sure.
cool. You're
Oh, thank you.
brilliant.
It's maryquintero.com, and that's QUINTERO.com.
The medium and energetic healer.
There you go. Yes.
Mary, I love you. You're awesome.
I love
God
you too.
bless.
Thank you.
Everybody, check her out. Have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
day.